A remarkable discovery in Jerusalem, with researchers uncovering a burial slab where the body of Jesus may have been laid after his crucifixion.
After several decades of exploration in several locations, scientists have at last discovered proof that points to the exact location of Jesus' tomb. They found important information inside the tomb that clarifies long-standing mysteries that have baffled generations. What terrifying mysteries were concealed within the depths of this tomb? And where was it located? Have they discovered Jesus' remains?
Tomb where Jesus was buried. The Roman Emperor Hadrian in the 2nd century built a temple here.
Come along as we uncover the contents of Jesus' tomb and discuss how they impact our beliefs. The precious tomb of Jesus. At the central district of Jerusalem, near the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, researchers have found an intriguing discovery. For a considerable amount of time, Christians from all over the world have traveled to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre to see this hallowed location. The narratives found in the New Testament state that Jesus was crucified in Golgotha, which is sometimes referred to as the place of the skull. This location, which is thought to be an abandoned stone quarry outside the city walls, is very important to Christian history. A second wall was built around 10 years after Jesus died, enclosing the location of his crucifixion and burial inside Jerusalem's city borders. This explains the current location of the Church of the Holy Sepulchre inside the Old City. After accepting Christianity, Emperor Constantine had a Venusian temple in Jerusalem demolished to make way for a church. Workers discovered a tomb they thought to be that of Jesus while doing the deconstruction. Travelers to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre would initially go up a staircase from Jerusalem's Cardo, the major thoroughfare. The Holy Sepulchre itself would then be reached after passing through a number of areas, such as a basilica, a narthex, and a sacred garden where the rock of Golgotha was located. The rock-cut tomb was originally open to the weather, but subsequently a modest structure was added to shelter it. According to Eusebius of Caesarea, a biographer of Constantine, the entire complex was magnificently decorated. It was also portrayed in early 5th century Roman artwork and on the 6th century Madaba mosaic map. Its elaborate decorations have also been revealed by recent excavations. Saint Helena, the mother of Constantine, set out to travel to Jerusalem in 326. Story tells that Mary happened upon what was thought to be the true cross, the cross that Jesus was crucified on during her travels. By the early 5th century, the story of the discovery of the true cross had spread worldwide. The chapel of the Invention of the Cross, located beneath the basilica's remains, rose to prominence by the 11th century. Tragedy came in 614 when the true cross was taken by a Persian army that destroyed the church. Heraclius, the Byzantine emperor, was able to arrange for its return in 631, though. After Jerusalem was conquered by the Arabs in 638, Christians first lived in a tranquil and tolerant environment. But things changed 3 centuries later when the basilica's entryway was converted into a mosque. Then, in 966, the building's dome was destroyed by a destructive fire that started amid anti-Christian demonstrations. Fatimid Caliph al-Hakim ordered the church to be destroyed in 1009. However, the reconstruction was kindly funded by the Byzantine Emperor Constantine IX Monomachos, albeit with some modifications to the design, such as a new entrance on the south side. In the latter part of the 11th century, pilgrims from all across Christendom came to this rebuilt cathedral. Surprisingly, the Muslim authorities in the city showed courtesy and respect to the pilgrims for a significant portion of this period. It was not until the Seljuk Turks conquered Jerusalem in 1077 that tales of Christian travelers being abused and turned away from churches started to circulate. An important factor in the First Crusade's motivation was the desire to regain holy places, especially the Holy Sepulchre, which occurred between 1096 and 1099. Witnesses recount how the survivors of the expedition prayed at the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, which was unique at the time since it was without a roof, after the Crusaders captured Jerusalem in 1099. The Church of Constantine IX Monomachos underwent major reconstruction over the course of the following 50 years. The church was converted into a cathedral with a design inspired by Western churches, all while maintaining its original configuration. The Golgotha rock was honored in a separate chapel, and the church's surrounding garden served as the Crusaders' basilica. Exactly 50 years after the First Crusade took Jerusalem, on July 15, 1149, the Church of the Holy Sepulchre was rededicated. However, following this incident, the building remained ongoing for a few years. Still, the church looks a lot like the one that tourists see today. The twin entrances that are still visible today are evidence that steps were taken to regulate admission and movement within the cathedral due to the rush of pilgrims. After an earthquake in 1927, travelers went through exquisitely carved lintels that were later moved to the Rockefeller Museum in Jerusalem. One of the church's portals was barred after the Muslims retook the city in 1187. Pilgrims were allowed to visit the site even during Muslim control, and Western politicians attempted to negotiate access rights. This location was kept under protection for a long time until archaeologists stumbled upon it and revealed Jesus' final resting place. Amazingly, they discovered ancient mortar under the stone that is thought to be where Jesus was buried in the tomb. The Roman Empire was ruled by Emperor Constantine when this mortar was created. Revelation of Jesus' tomb. The historical accounts of the location where Christians believe Jesus was buried now have more credibility in light of this discovery. The first Roman emperor to accept Christianity was Constantine, who lived in antiquity. With the assistance of his mother Helena, the story describes him discovering what is thought to be the stone tomb of Jesus, the revered figure in Christianity. According to legend, this momentous occasion took place between 325 and 326 AD. Driven by a heavenly vocation, Constantine set out to locate the hallowed spot where Jesus was buried. They didn't stop looking until they got to Jerusalem, where they thought the tomb may be. They arrived at an old Roman temple on their voyage, which may have been built in honor of Venus, the goddess of love. They were in front of this historic site at a pivotal point in their search, eager to learn the mysteries that lay within. Their exploration centered on the ancient Roman temple, a timeless building woven into the tapestry of time. The temple was drastically altered as they worked to reveal the holy tomb concealed within its walls. For years, it stood as a testament to bygone eras until its antiquated stones were meticulously removed to uncover the mysteries within. Excavation revealed a tomb sculpted softly from the jagged edges of a limestone cave as they peeled back the layers of history. A pivotal moment in history was reached when they opened the tomb and unveiled its contents. The upper part of the naturally occurring cave, which is now revered as a sacred area, was removed to reveal the sacred interior. The edicule, a protective structure surrounding the sacred space that preserves the essence of the divine revelation, was created as a result of this significant finding. The account of Constantine's hunt and the discovery of the tomb under the Roman temple serves as a metaphor for the intricate connection between religion, history, and the quest for priceless artifacts. This story, which combines spiritual and temporal elements to create a profoundly meaningful narrative, is firmly embedded in Christian memory. One characteristic shines out within the holy walls of the tomb thought to contain the remains of Jesus Christ, a long shelf that is frequently referred to as a burial bed. Tradition has it that this is the place where Jesus' body was lovingly laid to rest following his crucifixion, encouraging reflection on the deep ramifications of that momentous occasion in Christian theology. Examining the intricate decorations of the tomb reveals an intriguing parallel with the tombs of affluent Jews who lived in Jerusalem in the 1st century. These robust limestone caves were used to sculpt these tombs, which frequently had niches and shelves. They constructed these hallowed places with a profound sense of reverence, as if they had a shared knowledge of how to pay homage to the deceased. The funeral bed is more than simply a physical object. It also has a deep symbolic meaning that connects to Christianity's spiritual narrative. It stands for the ultimate resting place, silently recording significant occurrences. We experience a strong link to the elaborate story of Christian beliefs as we examine the details carved into the limestone. Glancing at the marble covering the burial bed, another layer of history reveals itself. This stone illustrates the passage of time. It is thought to have been deliberately placed no later than 1555. However, historical hints suggest that it may have existed even earlier, perhaps as early as the middle of the 1300s. Pilgrim stories have reverberated through the ages, providing us with invaluable perspectives into the layers of time and deepening our comprehension of the sanctity contained within. The murmurs of centuries past are present in every chiseled mark on the marble and every contour of the burial bed. The reverence pilgrims and believers display for the past is one way these nuances link the past with the present. With its unique characteristics, the tomb becomes more than just a physical location. It becomes a container for decades of dedication and reflection. It extends an invitation to everyone in its path to engage with a story that will never fade. Let's now examine the scientific findings of the mortar that was discovered in Jesus' tomb. Exploring shocking ancient secrets. Under the direction of Chief Scientific Supervisor Antonia Moropoulou, a group of scientists dated mortar samples that were extracted from various locations within the edicule, the tomb's protective enclosure. The world was stunned by what they discovered. Their inquiry was centered on the mortar, a relic infused with architectural history. They attempted to uncover the long-forgotten mysteries concealed in the mortar by employing radiocarbon dating to examine samples taken from different locations inside the edicule. The building timeline of the edicule has been clarified by the latest test findings. This holy monument gains even more historical significance with the discovery that the lower slab, an essential component of the sacred edifice, was probably set in cement somewhere in the middle of the 4th century. Connecting the construction effort to the era of Emperor Constantine gives the story significant depth by associating the origins of the edicule with the impact of a significant historical figure. For academics and historians who are dedicated to delving into the enigmatic past of this hallowed site, the confirmation of Constantine's role in constructing the edicule is profoundly significant. A window into the past is provided by the mid-4th century, which links the architectural evolution of the edicule with the history of the Roman Empire. When the findings are revealed, they come as a welcome surprise to those who have studied the holy monument. The dating of the lower slab of the edicule serves as proof of the continuous quest for historical accuracy. The mortar samples, which were hitherto silent witnesses to the artistry of antiquity, now provide new light on Emperor Constantine's expedition and the people who molded the hallowed chamber of Jesus' tomb. The sacred mortar samples from the edicule were dated using an advanced technique called optically stimulated luminescence, or OSL. This allowed the scientists to ascertain the last time that quartz silt, which is essential to the mortar, was exposed to light. The fact that this method correctly reveals temporal data makes it noteworthy. 2 different laboratories examined the mortar samples in great detail, each of them making a significant contribution to the effort to determine the timeline's accuracy. The researchers wanted to learn more about the past that was preserved in the quartz silt by using OSL. They learned about the times when the mortar changed by observing the way this sediment was exposed to light over time. There were doubts as to whether the reconstructed church truly represented the hallowed territory recognized 17 centuries before by a delegation from Rome. In spite of these doubts, the church continues to stand as a testament to Jerusalem's eternal vitality, encouraging contemplation and research into the intricate stories of religion and historical veracity. Researchers started piecing together a historical history as they looked through mortar samples recovered from the cave's remnants of the southern wall. By placing these samples between 335 and 1570, it was possible to connect the dots between Roman construction projects and a 16th century repair that was recorded. These mortar echoes are proof of the long history ingrained in this hallowed place because they are kept within the edicule's structure. The narrative of the edicule's evolution is supported by the discovery of Roman-era building remnants on the southern wall, which has undergone centuries of alteration. The chronological traces left by many builders and restorers were deciphered by specialists using scientific analysis and exact dating techniques. Examining the mortar from the tomb entrance, which had an 11th century signature on it, was a remarkable discovery. This corresponds with an important stage in the history of the edicule, the meticulous reconstruction that took place after its demolition in 1009. The results demonstrate the tenacity of those who devoted their lives to safeguarding this hallowed area in the 11th century through their meticulous repair efforts. The meticulous analysis of these pieces not only revealed their antiquity, but also honored the talent and commitment of all individuals who, over the ages, have contributed to the continuous restoration of the edicule. Unraveling the mystery of Jesus. Millions of pilgrims visit the tomb every day today, and priests from different Christian religions look after it under stringent rules inherited from the Ottoman era. 6 other places in Jerusalem, including the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, are thought by some to be the original burial sites of Jesus, which though is the real location. The Talpiot family tomb, which is situated roughly 5 kilometers south of Jerusalem's Old City, is one such site. It was found in 1980, but it didn't become well known until the 2007 Discovery Channel documentary, The Lost Tomb of Jesus, which was directed and produced by Simcha Jacobovici and James Cameron. Archaeologists discovered 10 ossuaries or bone boxes with names like Jesus, Mary and Joseph within the Talpiot tomb. An ossuary bearing the inscription Mariamein, thought to be Mary Magdalene's, was especially intriguing as it raised the possibility of a marriage relationship between Mary and Jesus. With the names Jude, son of Jesus, and Jesus, son of Joseph on 2 more ossuaries, there was conjecture that Jesus and Mary Magdalene may have had a son by the same name. Scholars counter that names like Jesus, Joseph, and Mary were prevalent in Judea in the 1st century AD. Thus, their existence need not imply a relationship to the biblical characters, given that these names were common at the time and might not have any particular association with Jesus or his family. It's probable that the directors, Cameron and Jacobovici, read too much into them. The Discovery Channel video indicates that the Talpiot tomb supporters' theory of Jesus and Mariameni's marriage is supported by their assertion that DNA testing revealed no maternal link between the two. Critics draw attention to the potential for paternal relationships, such as those between a father and daughter or a grandfather and granddaughter. James Tabor, a scholar, hypothesizes that Jesus' brother James may have been interred at the Talpiot tomb, identifying it as the family tomb of Jesus of Nazareth. Based on trace components discovered in the soil of East Jerusalem, chemical investigations funded by filmmaker Simcha Jacobovici indicate a possible relationship between the Talpiot tomb and the James ossuary. Because of the study's tiny sample size, some people doubt the validity of the findings despite the intriguing narrative. The James ossuary's origin is also unknown because of its unusual appearance in comparison to the other ossuaries discovered in the Talpiot tomb. It is noteworthy that all of the academics who were interviewed for the documentary, aside from James Tabor, have expressed displeasure with the way their words were presented and misinterpreted. It is crucial to scrutinize the filmmakers' conclusions in light of this discrepancy. Challenges with other proposed sites. Put simply, the proponents of the Talpiot family tomb theory have failed to provide a compelling argument for a major flaw in their theory. If the family of Jesus originated in Galilee, why would they have a family tomb in Jerusalem? Jody Magnus, an archaeologist, makes a very clear point. Only wealthy families in Jesus' day employed rock-cut tombs and the custom of subsequently transferring bones to ossuaries. In Galilee, if Jesus' family had been more modest, they would have most likely chosen a common grave. Magnus adds that the names on the ossuaries found in the Talpiot tomb imply that the deceased was from Judea, where individuals were identified by both their father's name and first name, as opposed to Galilee, where people were identified by their hometown and first name. The pieces don't fit the Galilean picture, so it's like trying to solve a basic puzzle. Another potential location for Jesus' tomb is the Garden Tomb, sometimes known as Gordon's Tomb, because of Charles Gordon's 1883 publicity for it. Its serene garden setting is what makes it so appealing to travelers, particularly evangelical Christians, who are itching to see the location where Jesus is said to be buried. A number of dubious identification techniques have been used in the history of the Garden Tomb, such as Gordon's theory that Jerusalem resembled a skeleton with Skull Hill serving as the head. Ron Wyatt is being dishonest when he says that the Ark of the Covenant is close by. The fact that no Second Temple period tombs have been discovered nearby only serves to raise questions. After examining the tomb complex containing the Garden Tomb, archaeologist Gabriel Barkay came to the conclusion that it was built during the Iron Age, in the 7th or 8th century BC. Its architectural design is more akin to First Temple tombs, particularly those found close to the Basilica of St. Stephen. This implies that in contrast to what is stated in John 19:41, the Garden Tomb was already over 600 years old when Jesus lived there. Unfortunately, this tomb has been ruled out as a potential location for researchers searching for the burial site of Jesus. The Tomb of the Shroud, which is situated in the Kidron Valley, has also been proposed as the location of Jesus' burial. Although its historical veracity is up for discussion, it has garnered attention due to its proximity to the Garden of Gethsemane and its association with a legend about Joseph of Arimathea. The tomb's design, typical of tombs in ancient Judea, is carvings out of rock. Because it may have something to do with the circumstances surrounding Jesus' crucifixion and burial, it is believed to be significant. According to tradition, the shroud tomb got its name from the discovery of an old burial shroud, or cloth inside. Some traditions deny the shroud tomb's connection to Joseph of Arimathea, who is said to have given Jesus a tomb following his crucifixion in the New Testament. The theory that Jesus was buried in the tomb of the shroud is not well supported by archaeological evidence, and academics disagree on how historically accurate it is. People are drawn to this location despite the unknowns, because of its religious significance and the riddles surrounding its relationship to the burial of Jesus. Another location that has some traditions associated with Jesus' burial is the Dominus Flevit Church, albeit this location is not commonly thought to be a genuine tomb. With a breathtaking perspective of Jerusalem's old city, it is situated atop the Mount of Olives. Because of the legend that Jesus wept over Jerusalem from this location, the name of the location means "the Lord wept" in Latin. The church was created by Italian architect Antonio Barluzzi to resemble a teardrop, signifying the tears of Jesus. For those visiting Jerusalem's holy sites, it's an interesting stop due to its distinctive architecture and expansive view. Beside the Dominus Flevit Church, there is a rock-cut tomb with various legends connected to Joseph of Arimathea, the man who is said to have given Jesus a tomb following his crucifixion. Dominus Flevit Church, located on the Mount of Olives, a location linked to numerous biblical events, is spiritually significant even though it isn't as well known as the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. Even while it's not generally acknowledged as the true resting place of Jesus, the church is nonetheless a significant location, rich in religious stories, history, and stunning architecture. Some people also think that Jesus may have been buried in the tombs of the Virgin Mary and Joseph of Arimathea. The grave of Jesus' mother is commonly connected to the tomb of the Virgin Mary, which is situated in the Kidron Valley. Though there is little historical evidence linking this place to Mary, pilgrims and tourists are drawn to it because they believe it has significance in Christian history. The legends passed down in Christian tradition, and people's reverence for Mary draw people to her tomb. The New Testament mentions Joseph of Arimathea, who is renowned for having provided Jesus with a tomb. Different ideas differ on the precise location of Joseph's tomb. Some claim it is in the Kidron Valley, while others give alternative locations. These conflicting accounts deepen the enigma surrounding the location of Joseph's final resting place following his crucial involvement in the burial of Jesus. As believers examine these tombs, they are surrounded by religious devotion and historical significance, providing an opportunity for spiritual connection. The legends associated with these locations are interwoven into the larger fabric of Christianity, enticing travelers and scholars to explore the narratives handed down through the ages. Those who are concerned with the spiritual and historical significance of Jesus' burial are still drawn to the ongoing investigation into his exact burial site. An ambitious initiative to rebuild Jerusalem's Church of the Holy Sepulchre was started in 2017 by a group of professionals. Christians see this location as sacred since it is where Jesus was killed, buried, and raised from the dead. The church is fascinating to historians, archaeologists, and Christians alike because of its complicated history and numerous renovations and adjustments throughout the ages. Strengthening the edicule, a little shrine inside the cathedral that holds the tomb of Jesus, was the primary goal of the restoration effort. The edicule has undergone multiple renovations and repairs since its construction in the early 1800s. The building started to display indications of deterioration over time, such as fissures in the marble walls and unevenness in the foundation. Experts meticulously planned and carried out a renovation to guarantee the preservation of this holy site. A surprising and amazing discovery was made by the team of professionals when they were working on strengthening the edicule. As they carefully lifted the marble covering from the inner chamber of the tomb, they discovered a previously locked chamber inside the tomb. This secret cavern has lain undiscovered and unrecognized for centuries until now. The revelation stunned the archaeology community and threw another enigma into the Church of the Holy Sepulchre's past. It had been forgotten over time that the sealed room had reportedly been walled off during an edicule refurbishment in 1555. The recently found chamber demonstrated the church's constant evolution and the depth of history hidden beyond its hallowed walls, even if it was devoid of any important items or human remains. Historians and archaeologists quickly realized how important this find was. It brought to light the ongoing endeavor to solve the riddles surrounding the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, a location steeped in both historical changes and centuries of religious devotion. Scholarly debate continues to surround the significance and goal of the locked chamber, providing fresh avenues for investigation and study within this hallowed location. One of the most amazing moments in the history of the Church of the Holy Sepulchre was the discovery of the hidden chamber. It served as a reminder that mysteries remain to be solved, even at one of the most venerated and researched places on Earth. This surprising finding rekindled curiosity about the Church's past and the ongoing effort to fully understand its complex history. Apart from the intriguing discoveries made inside the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, the search for Jesus' final resting place has progressed outside of Jerusalem. The Talpiot tomb, located in the village of Talpiot, south of the city, has garnered a lot of interest lately. 10 ossuaries were found in this tomb complex in 1980, 2 of which have generated a great deal of discussion and dispute. Yeshua bar Yehoseph, which means Jesus, son of Joseph, is inscribed on one ossuary, while Mariamena Emara, which means Mary the Master, is inscribed on the other. There are many who speculate that Jesus, Mary, and possibly other family members were interred in this tomb. Scholars, however, passionately dispute the veracity and significance of these inscriptions. Critics point out that pairings like those were statistically possible because names like Yeshua or Jesus and Mariamen or Mary were common at the time. The translation, Mary known as the Master in Mariamene Emara, also leaves room for interpretation. Biblical archaeology continues to investigate the Talpiot tomb in spite of the controversy surrounding it. Even while it hasn't been proven to be connected to Jesus' burial with certainty, it adds to the current investigation into the historical and archaeological facets of Jesus' life and death. Scholars and Christians alike are enthralled with the ongoing effort to discover the mysteries surrounding his last resting place.